Hello everyone, what is up and welcome back to another video. Okay, so today's video gonna be quite fun because finally we've gotten what we wanted for what not we wanted but what many of us have been wanting for a very long time. This has been one of the most biggest speculation for every iPad launch or every software event, which is WWDC. This has been one of the top lists for many people out there, and that is Final Cut Pro on iPad. We finally have the Final Cut Pro for iPad supported, available. Yep, this has been like a week ago, but my video scheduled for every week because this was a really unexpected update. So I really couldn't make a video about it instantly the moment it came out because I already had my Apple Watch Ultra 2 weeks review. I actually wanted to do a 1 week review, but I wasn't ready for it. 1 week was just too short for me, so I did a 2 weeks review on that, and that video was rescheduled to be out because I usually do 1 week review and this is a 2 weeks review, so that itself is already quite late. So I couldn't do a video about it, and I'm really sorry about that. So now back to the topic of this video. Is it really good? Because now since that Final Cut Pro for iPad is out, that's a really good thing because you're able to edit on the go, and there's a lot of advantages to this. But it being Apple, we all know nothing comes with just a easy one-time payment, or let's say it's with just an easy way. There's always something to take our money away from us. Of course, we're all not going to be surprised. There's just a few minor things and details that about this Final Cut Pro on iPad that we have to talk about. But before that, let's take a look at the Apple website because I can't really try out Final Cut Pro on iPad because I don't have an iPad. But we're going to take a look at the Apple website about the information that we can get for Final Cut Pro on iPad, and we're going to talk about whether is it worth it or whether is it really necessary in the first place. We're going to talk about that. But of course, without further ado, let's take a look at everything related to this, and we shall talk about it. We shall continue talking about it, but first let's take a look at some of the things that I wanted to show all of you. So here we are in Apple's website for Final Cut Pro for iPad. Now let's scroll down, and then here we can see record, edit, finish and deliver all on iPad. Basically just shoot everything on the iPad's camera, but obviously no one is going to do that. Create vlogs, social content, a complete pro video studios at your fingerprint, whatever. And now here we go. Get 1 month free and then pay $6.98 per month or $69 annually. This shows that this is a subscription and not a one-time payment. It's just basically Final Cut Pro but with the touch interface. There's our usual audio clips and our video clips. Pretty much the entire Final Cut Pro for Mac with slight differences to adapt for the iPad interface. I isolate the subject and remove it from its background. Some of the cool new features, pro videos, and if you go down here, Final Cut Pro for iPad. Like I said, it's available as a monthly subscription for $6.98 per month or yearly for $69. And of course a 1 month trial after installing. So which iPad do I need to use? It's not every single iPad with Apple Silicon. Like you can see here that the 11-inch iPad Pro from 3rd or 4th generation and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro 5th or 6th generation. It's slightly confusing, but we should talk about it later. The standard iPad Air 5th generation. Of course, firstly we're going to talk about this support for the iPad. So let's talk about it. This support is what really sort of, let's say, triggers me because it's really very funny. We can install Final Cut Pro for iPad on the 12.9-inch iPad Pro 5th or 6th generation and the 11-inch iPad Pro 3rd or 4th generation. Or if not for the iPad Pro, there's still one more iPad which supports it, which is the iPad Air 5th generation. The iPad Pro 5th and 6th generation supporting it is expected. So is it for the iPad Air 5th generation because it's similarity for all these chip instead of it. M1, M2, whichever it is, Apple Silicon. But what feels weird in this is it is still supported for the 11-inch 3rd and 4th generations of iPad Pros. So I was expecting it to be only supported for the M1 series, or let's say for the M1 or the M2 series. So it being supported for older iPads, I'm definitely not complaining about it, but it just doesn't feel the Apple way. It just makes people spend more. You really want Final Cut Pro for iPad, right? Then okay, you just go and get the newest iPad, whichever it is. When the initial talks for Final Cut Pro for iPad came about, my first ever prediction was I predicted that the Final Cut Pro for iPad will only be available for iPad Pro series and not the iPad Air or anything at all. And Apple supporting it for iPad Air itself was a really big surprise for me. And what came as more of a shock was, of course, it supporting Final Cut Pro for even the A12C chips. That was really something really unexpected, but of course, I really welcome it. Final Cut Pro, it's not a one-time payment. Like we look at it just now, the problem is it's not a one-time payment, but it's a subscription based. I really was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be maybe slightly more expensive than the MacBook one because of its portability and things like that. So like we saw just now, it costs about $6.98, so that's $7 for per month and a yearly subscription of $69. So let's just do a quick math here, right? So that's $69 per year, right? So let's put $69 and let's divide it by 365 days. So 365 days. So when you look at it, it's kind of like 18 cents a day. $9 divided by 12 months, and that is $5.75 around there. Okay, this is $5.75 per month, and the catch is you don't own the software, right? You don't own the software at all. It's just a subscription based, and once it's out, just out. But let's say you have a MacBook and you want to get Final Cut Pro, $399.98. So let's keep it as $400. It's a one-time payment. You don't have to pay anymore. So that divided by the $69 that we pay, that brings us to about 5.7 years. So let's keep it as 5 years, 5.7 years, so 5.5 years, let's 5 years and 7 months. So let's say if you pay $400 for the Final Cut Pro software on MacBook, you get it for your entire lifetime. But let's say you're gonna put the same $400 onto an iPad, you're only gonna get it for 5.5 years. Let's speak realistically. Is any one of us ever going to use our iPads for 5 years, or in this case, let's say 5 years and 7 months, so let's keep it at 6 years. Is any one of us going to use our iPad for 6 years? That's the main question here, because technology is really improving really fast nowadays and we all are changing our iPads. So my point here is Final Cut Pro for iPad isn't worth it according to me, because like I just said, how many of us are going to be using our iPads? The same iPads that we have now 6 years down the road? Not many of us. But how many of us are going to be using our MacBooks, the one that we're having? Let's say you just got the latest. I'm not talking about those having 2015 or 20, or let's say the Intel MacBooks. I'm talking about those having the M1 Pro or the M1 Max. Even the M1 MacBooks, how many of us are going to be using it 6 years or 7 years down the road? I'm pretty sure the MacBooks ones are going to be higher, because people don't change MacBooks easily. MacBooks are really long lasting machines and people don't change them easily. Spending close to $400 on Final Cut Pro for a MacBook, it's a lot more worth it compared to spending subscription based Final Cut Pro for iPad. To a lot of people, it might be worth it because at the end of the day, it really depends on the way you use. If you really want to be the one using the touch-based interface, or if you really want it to be really that portable, then maybe you can go for it. But I really won't recommend you. I really won't recommend. Let's say you have the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, right? It's a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and of course, if you want to use Final Cut Pro, you definitely need a keyboard, because I don't think anyone can be just using Final Cut Pro with just the touchscreen. Nah, I don't think that's possible. So we're gonna get a keyboard, and we're gonna get the trackpad and things like that. And to me, a 12.9-inch iPad Pro and a 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro doesn't weigh that much of a difference. So does it in its size. There isn't going to be that much of a difference. A 12.9-inch iPad Pro with an Apple keyboard and an Apple Pencil isn't going to weigh much different from a 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro. If you get the Mac, you get the Mac OS, and of course with the one-time payment for Final Cut Pro and things like that. You don't have to get the M1 Max or M1 Ultra to get Final Cut Pro. You can always go for the M1 chip MacBook Pro or the M2 MacBook Pro. Or let's say you really want to save your cost, then you can go for refurbished ones from the Apple Store or from Amazon or whatever. You can go for refurbished M1 MacBook Pros, which are really good. You can spend $400 and get Final Cut Pro. I was one of the person who wanted Final Cut Pro for iPad. It being a subscription based, it doesn't really sound worth it to me at all. I really wish I can try out Final Cut Pro for iPad, but I sadly don't have an iPad, so I really can't give my review or my thoughts on it. And I'm really sorry about that. Of course, we'll try to give more content to entertain you guys, but that's pretty much about it. Basically my comments and thoughts on Final Cut Pro for iPad being released. So that's been it for this video. If you like what you saw, don't remember to click the like button and don't remember to subscribe to the channel. And with that, thank you so much for watching. And remember, Final Cut Pro for iPad isn't worth it, guys. But of course, your comments are always welcomed. Always welcome in the comment box below. If you feel like it's worth it, do let me know. I would love to read them. To me, I feel like it's not worth it. But of course, your comments, it's your wish. So do leave them in the comments below. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.